Okay, so I've tried to start this video about 5 times now, and at this point I'm just saying screw it. I'm just gonna let whatever happens happen. Okay, so this small number you might remember I used to make videos on YouTube all the time, all kinds of different things, usually related to like movie reviews, stuff like that. I've decided that I'm going to start making a series where I basically just ramble on about all kinds of topics. Some of it'll be movies, some of it'll be politics, some of it'll be just any kind of random thing I feel like rambling on about in any given particular day. Um, as of the recording of this video right now, I've got a whole bunch of anime music videos up, which if you want, you can go ahead and bookmark those as soon as the first official video in the series goes up. I'm going to be delisting those. That is pretty much all I have for this introduction. I just wanted to let people know what I'm about to be working on, and I will see you in the first official video in this series. Alright, so I'm looking at this article and I figured to make a good episode 1. Take this article with a grain of salt because I did some searching around and I really couldn't find anything proving or disproving this. But the title of the article is Rockstar Announces GTA 6 Set in Fictional City Based on Houston/Galveston, Texas. Now, if anyone wants to read the article, I'm going to post it in the description. But it says, Rockstar has confirmed that production is underway on the 6th video game in the smash hit Grand Theft Auto series. Among details about the game's features and settings, Rockstar confirmed rumors that it will be set in a fictitious city named Magnolia City that is firmly based on Houston, Texas. The fictional name comes from one of Houston's very first nicknames. Starting in the 1970s, many locals referred to Houston by this name due to the vast magnolia forests, which have since been destroyed by urban sprawl. Lead designer James Cummings revealed details about the vision of GTA 6 on his website. And there's a quote that says, "We really wanted to push the envelope on the scale of GTA 6, and that's why we chose Houston. Houston is huge and very spread out. Our goal is to capture the true scale of Houston and its suburbs. This is going to be a big challenge for us, but we've never backed down from a challenge before. We will capture the essence and scale of Houston from the skyscrapers to the shore." No release date has been announced yet, but Cummings stated it will be at least 6 months before information is given about the project. Now, I find this interesting mainly because I live near Houston, and I don't see anywhere in that quote where they mention Galveston, so I'm not sure where they got Galveston from, but that is also an area I'm very familiar with, so it's going to be very interesting to actually see what they can do with it, and if they actually pull this off, it'd be really fascinating, especially if they get like the actual distance down. That could make for a really huge map if they're going to combine those two and actually make it as big as the distance really should be. I'm not entirely sure if that would make it bigger than GTA 5. It probably would. But yeah, I'm really excited about this if it's true. Um, there's some things I'm looking forward to. I would really like to see jetpacks coming back in 6. I don't know about the rest of you, but that was my favorite part of San Andreas. But yeah, so it actually looks like this article is from April 14th, so that actually concerns me because I figure if anyone else is going to pick up this story, they probably would have done it by now. In any case, I'm curious to know what y'all think of this, so feel free to comment, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Alright, so apparently High C is bringing back the ECTO cooler to promote the new Ghostbusters movie. So likely the only thing good that comes of that. But yeah, apparently according to this article that I'm seeing here, it was launched in 1987 and ran until 2001. Somehow, in all my years, I never actually came across this. I actually heard about it, but I never actually drank it myself, so I don't know if it was any good. But apparently, I hear it was really great. But I'm sure I'll find out. Let me go ahead and read this article here. Once again, I'll have it linked in the description. The title is High C Ecto Cooler is officially back just in time for Ghostbusters. Following months of rumors, fan campaigns, and ghostly sightings, it's official. Coca-Cola is reviving its Ghostbusters-themed High C Ecto Cooler. Originally launched in 1987 as a tie-in to the real Ghostbusters, the ectoplasm-colored citrus drink outlived the animated series, haunting store shelves until it was discontinued in 2001. Now it's returning, if only for a limited time, due to the Ghostbusters reboot, naturally. Available beginning May 30th, the resurrected Ecto Cooler will be sold in packs of 6-ounce juice boxes and 11.5-ounce aluminum cans. Ghostbusters arrives in theaters July 15th. I will likely be skipping the movie because it looks absolutely terrible, but if the Ecto Cooler drink is any bit as good as people say that it was, then I will most likely be trying that, and I'll hopefully get a video out telling you guys what I think about it. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. I'm currently working on a bigger video right now, so I figured I'd just make this quick video just so that I have something for you guys. So I will see you in the next video. Hey guys, Chatzu here. I just want to let you know I've created a new channel called the Chatzu Archive, where I will be putting a bunch of my older videos up. If you remember the videos that I had on my channel and you have a particular one that you want to request, I will take requests on there. That's pretty much all I got for this. I just wanted to do a quick little update, so if you want to go and subscribe, I'll have a link down in the description. See you there. All right, this is an article from April 24th, and for the life of me, I just cannot read this entire thing out loud. It's just eye-rollingly bad, so some of this I'm just going to sum up and explain what's wrong with it afterwards. The article is called Game of Thrones is Back. Will Season 6 address misogyny concerns? Yeah, let's pretend those actually exist. HBO's Game of Thrones returns for Season 6 on April 24th. Gritty, violent, and at times gory and always uncompromising its choice of subject matter. In short, very much adult. The show is one of the network's top-rated programs, but the show has received criticism even from its more die-hard fans for its worsening portrayal of violence against women. Some people believe the show has already crossed the boundary between acceptable storytelling and outright misogyny. Yeah, and some people believe that those same people can go enjoy a cocktail of bleach and Drano. Don't use the phrase some people when you're clearly talking about yourself. What are you, Fox News? Anyway, the next section is called The Rape of Thrones, and I'm just going to sum this part up. It's about the scene where Jaime rapes Cersei, and it calls this the show's first substantial controversy, as if Game of Thrones has never been controversial before. I also get the sense that they think the writers condone this, because as we all know, you can't allow characters in a fictional story to do bad things without condoning it. Oh, and from an editorial perspective, cutting off every page of your 4-page article mid-sentence is extremely tacky. The next part of the article has the female cast members defending the show, but the rest of the article acts as if their opinions don't matter. Gotta love the irony. Towards the end of the article, the author seems to be agreeing with a critic, saying that this kind of, quote, misogyny is why HBO is starting to struggle. And honestly, as someone who has spent the better part of a decade in the pay TV industry, I can confidently tell you that HBO's struggle has more to do with the fact that it has about half the content as Netflix for about twice the price. So make of that what you will. Now, look, I meant to get this video up sooner, but the more I read this article, the more it pissed me off. And it has less to do with the article itself and more to do with the mindset of social justice warriors in general. You know, the type of people who think that everything's racist, everything's sexist, everything's misogynistic, yada yada. You're probably familiar with the Sarkeesian spiel by now. The fact is, entertainment is meant for just that, entertainment. What you perceive from it usually says more about you than it does about the material. Don't get me wrong, sometimes the complaints are valid, but SJWs look for hidden meanings, things that the creators never intended, and use this as some sort of justification for unnecessary censorship, just because their feelings are hurt. Well, guess what? Sometimes you're going to come across things in life that you don't like. This does not give you the right to censor free speech. This includes things that can bring up painful memories. You're not supposed to run from bad memories. You're supposed to confront them so you can move on and grow stronger as a person. Everyone goes through some variation on this. You're not a unique snowflake. Life for you has been less than kind. Take a number. Stand in line. Anyway, that's how I feel. If you want, you can leave a comment and hopefully start a nice, productive conversation. Who am I kidding? I'm posting this on YouTube. Okay, so I've been trying to get this episode going for a while now, and one of the big issues and the reason why it's taken so long is the fact that I've had a couple of different topics I wanted to talk about, but I really want to do more extensive videos than just these rambling ones on at least certain topics. So I just gathered 3 topics which I could just talk about briefly, and I'm just going to do this episode on these 3 topics. The first one is my opinions on the DC and Marvel cinematic universes and their different approaches. Now, I saw somewhere, and I don't even remember where I saw this, where I would assume it's a DC fan, which I myself, I could go either way. It just depends on what character you're talking about. But in regards to the cinematic universe, I saw someone say that Marvel is going more for an immature crowd, the more mainstream crowd, whereas DC is trying to cater towards a more mature crowd. And while I don't entirely agree, I can kind of see where they're coming from. However, my opinion on the subject would be that Marvel is going for an immature crowd in a very mature way, a very well done way, whereas DC is going for a mature crowd in an extremely immature way. Like Marvel, they know what they're doing. They're going about this smart. Whereas DC, they're trying to rush it, and they think that mature means dark and gritty, and it's just something that I really cannot get behind. And I will go into more detail in another video. But for now, that's really just what I wanted to say on the subject. Then I wanted to expand on my opinions on the way the new Ghostbusters film is going, and particularly the hate that the trailer's getting, which I certainly share the hate because the trailer was absolutely awful. And my opinions on why people really hate it, it's a couple of different reasons. But I think first and foremost, it seems that the decision to gender swap the characters was a decision that had less to do with, oh, we were creatively inspired to do this, and more, we're trying to blatantly cater to third wave feminist, which is an ideology that's becoming less and less popular. So yeah, they really should have expected a backlash from that. But yeah, although my personal issues with it more stem from the leaked pitch that the director had to Sony in the leaked Sony emails, where he's describing the plot that he's come up with, and it really bothers me that he seems to fundamentally misunderstand what the original Ghostbusters was, or rather, where the comedy came from. Based on what I saw from the leaked email, it seemed that he's really going in depth with the backstory, or not the backstory, the story of like why the ghosts are haunting the city, and this really elaborate evil ghost villain plan. It, and focusing less on the actual Ghostbusters themselves, whereas in the original, the comedy came from the fact that it was more of a going into business story, where the business they were going into just so happened to be catching ghosts. And the whole, I mean, that's really where the comedy stemmed from, is the fact that, oh, it just so happens that that's what they're doing, and it's kind of nonchalant about it, and that's what's funny. And yeah, the current one, it doesn't seem to really understand that on a very fundamental level. And the third topic I want to talk about, probably the most controversial, would be the way that Hillary Clinton has been just really being extremely condescending towards Bernie Sanders supporters. And I'm trying to think of exactly how I want to word this. Basically, she thinks that Bernie Sanders supporters will come over to her side simply based on the fact that she's winning. And that is, I think, a mistake that is really going to cost her in the general election. I don't know who is advising her that the path she's going on with this is a smart idea, but she should probably fire them. I mean, there are plenty of reasons why I do not like Hillary Clinton, and they just keep mounting every day. And of course, she detracts from this by saying, "Oh, the hate that I'm getting, it's not because I'm a terrible person or anything. No," she pulls the "it's because I'm a woman" card, and oh, she's claiming sexism basically. Okay, you know what? I know this is gonna sound really fucked up, but if Hillary Clinton wins the Democratic nomination and then goes on in the general election to lose to Donald Trump, it will not be because she's a woman. It will be because she is a cunt. And that is all I have for this episode. It's probably going to be a while before I do the next one. Um, I'm going to be working on several projects at once, including trying to get a book finished. And yeah, so I'll see you when I see ya. So I'm working on another video right now, but in the meantime, I figured I would just get on the mic here and just randomly shoot the shit. Why not? So yeah, you know what the great thing about not having very many views is? I can pretty much get on here and say whatever the fuck I want. I mean, hell, in my last video, I called Hillary Clinton a cunt, and the internet didn't explode over it. That's actually kind of amazing. But yeah, I put whatever I want on here. It doesn't matter. It does not matter at this point. I mean, hell, I could be on webcam right now, just like butt naked, scratching my balls, and no one would even see it. So what would even be the point? Anyway, yeah, I just figured I'd make a little random video like this, just for anyone who comes across its amusement. So yeah, I will see you in the next video.
Hello. Been a long time, hasn't it? My real voice doesn't seem to have quite the same punch as using Speakonia, so here we are. Back in the day, I didn't get into politics, but as times change, so have I. The current American presidential race is a very touchy subject. If you slip up and say something someone doesn't like, all hell can break loose. If you are a Hillary Clinton supporter, please know that while I may disagree with you, I respect your right to have an opinion. That being said, if you're the kind of special snowflake that gets triggered by a different opinion, click off this video now. A few days ago, an article was released on the Huffington Post titled "The Bernie vs. Hillary Battle All Boils Down to Sexism." While I'm sure this will be a well-reasoned argument, God, I wish this thing could express sarcasm. Let's take a look anyway. As it becomes more possible that Hillary Clinton could well be our first female president, sexism in the United States is made apparent to me in ways it never was before. The majority of the men in my life as friends and family are straight, socially liberal, white males, and all say they are at least pro-women's equality if they are not willing/able to identify themselves as feminists. But every straight white man I know is either supporting Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. None are supporting Hillary. And therein lies the sexist rub. Yes, that must be it. I'm sure it has nothing to do with Hillary being a thoroughly unlikable human being. I know lots of young women who are voting for and vocally supporting Sanders. I don't know any straight white men who are voting for nor vocally supporting Clinton. Clearly this must mean they don't exist. Whether you're a woman for Bernie or a woman for Hillary, I ask you to just please pause for a moment and think about the straight white men in your life. Do you personally know even one straight white man backing Clinton in this election? Well, I'm not a woman, but yes, I do know straight white men who support Hillary. What do I win? In February of this year, feminist luminaries Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright were publicly shamed for asserting that young female Sanders supporters are siding with Bernie because the boys they know have sided with Bernie. Steinem and Albright were calling attention to our country's cultural history of men's opinions, you know, the ones that shape almost all our news, entertainment, and politics, influencing women's opinions, especially when women are young and have not yet woken up to all the ways men affect their lives much more than they themselves or any other woman does. However, they retracted their statements when, in a twist no one saw coming, people actually had the nerve to call Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright's comments sexist. 3 months later, it's time to reassess exactly where sexism lies in this election. Clearly on your side. You see, we have this crazy idea that women can think for themselves and don't need to be, quote, woken up to anything but their own thoughts and opinions. As the New York Times reported in March, white men have been the only demographic to consistently resist voting for Hillary during the primaries, suggesting that difficulty securing the white male vote comes from a place of sexism. The Times noted this particular issue for Hillary is a sharp turnabout from 2008, when she won double-digit victories among white male voters when she was running against a black opponent. I question those stats. Last I checked, youth and independents were demographics, and they have been overwhelmingly on Bernie's side. 8 years ago, white males were more okay with the idea of a white woman as president than a black man, but in 2016 they still prefer both white male contenders Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump to a potential female president. The Washington Post verified these statistics last week, stating one of the groups that votes against Hillary Clinton most consistently is white men. In 2023 contests for which we have exit poll data, white men have preferred Sanders to Clinton. In Vermont, Sanders saw one of his most dominant demographic performances. White men in the state favored him by 83 percentage points over Clinton. We can look at it another way. In 2016, white men are the only gender-race combination to overwhelmingly favor Sanders over Clinton. White men back Sanders by 26.4 percentage points more than do white women, who prefer Clinton on average. In 2008, white men voted more for Clinton than Obama but were 20.6 points less supportive of her than white women. Stats can only tell you so much. While you can make all the assumptions you want about why someone prefers a candidate, you will never really know why unless you ask them. Besides, it could always be the case that a good chunk of those women prefer Hillary simply because she has a vagina. The Times also asked the men they interviewed why they are not supporting Clinton, and a few said they did not think a woman should be commander-in-chief. The men who said that, very surprisingly, were registered as Democrats and independents. Yes, a few. It is not surprising that a few men are assholes. Notice how they didn't say the majority. If I didn't know any better, I would say you are trying to strongman. Veteran Democratic poll Stuart Peter Hart added, her most serious relationship problem is with white men on a policy issue front but also stylistically, and she is at real risk for running worse than the average Democrat with white males. What could that stylistic problem be? We have to include the possibility of Hillary reminding straight white male voters of their wives, moms, and sisters, if only on a subconscious level, people who perhaps they traditionally did not consider serious contenders for the presidency, let alone as people who might be able to truly hold office over them in any capacity. Once again, it's not the majority of male voters who dislike her because she is a woman. This argument is bullshit. Before you say this is bullshit, please consider that these anti-Hillary, because she's a woman, conscious and subconscious feelings are not only coming from straight white male Democrats and independents, they are also coming from straight white male Republicans. Thus, the common denominator is not political party, but being a straight white male. I have considered your continuing strongman, and I still say this is bullshit. Furthermore, a new poll on Politico suggests that 25% of Sanders supporters will not support Hillary should she secure the nomination, but will instead support Trump. One such Bernie backer is Spencer Thayer, a straight white male who started Won'tVoteHillary.com. I refuse to link to it because that sexist shit does not need more traffic. Thayer is encouraging Sanders supporters to vote against Hillary at all costs, even if it means a Trump presidency. I find it hard to believe that a straight, white young man who so adamantly supports Sanders would be happy to have an insane billionaire for president, unless he, like Trump and so many of his supporters, male and female alike, simply can't fathom a woman in the Oval Office. P.S. Thayer is a self-described activist and artist who very well could have just made the website for personal PR purposes. Have you ever even considered for 1 second that maybe they don't like Hillary because they just don't like Hillary? Why does it have to be sexist to despise an opponent so fiercely that you are willing to vote for another party? What about the Republicans who say they would rather vote for Hillary over Trump? Does that make them sexist against men? Sanders and Trump supporters have continuously fallen back on the same two talking points when it comes to knocking Clinton, taking money from super PACs, and using her family's email server over the State Department server while Secretary of State. While Bernie himself has said he's sick of talking about the emails, both Bernie and his supporters will not let the super PACs go. It is an argument that inherently brings up the question of sexism when democratically beloved President Obama has also swung to the side of super PACs but has not been criticized for it. Yes, he has. Obama has fallen out of favor with many on the left, including myself, for many reasons including the super PAC issue. And as for the Hillary issues, reports have come out that state that what she did with her servers was illegal. That is not in question. However, what is unclear is if and when the FBI will indict her. If they do, and it's after she is the nominee, you can say hello to President Trump. The emails may not have been an issue at first, but they are now. This has nothing to do with sexism. It is also important to note that Hillary has been gunning for president at least since college, if not her whole life, meaning longer than Obama could have been before she ran against him in 2008, and longer than Bernie has been, at least in total number of years spent campaigning for the presidency. Hillary is a pre-Bernie and pre-Trump politician. Could she be where she is today if she hadn't played by the same rules every man did up until this point in time? No. Gee, it's almost like she got to where she is by doing what every male politician does, and sex had nothing to do with it. And if she were suddenly a dark horse, former First Lady, springing onto the scene, declaring she was running for president as a no-super PAC candidate, would anyone take her seriously or give a shit? Come on. No. Bernie's campaign is a campaign he is able to run because he is a white male. Our first ever white female candidate does not have such privilege. For now, let's ignore the fact that Hillary is a name everyone knows, and Bernie is a virtual unknown, and also that a former First Lady is not a dark horse. Bernie is getting a lot of support because he is running as an anti-establishment candidate in a time where everyone is sick of establishment politics. It's the same reason why Trump is getting so much support on the right. Except Trump has a well-known name and lots of free media coverage, so he won quite easily, and Bernie looks like he will lose to Hillary. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Hillary is winning. And I'm sure that all the positive Hillary and negative Bernie news coverage, not to mention the support of the Democratic establishment, had nothing to do with that. But by all means, tell me again how unprivileged she is. The hardest thing about laying out these points in one place is not the thought of sharing them with a Trump and Bernie supporting men in my life who I actually think will listen to and consider each point fairly. It's knowing that each point will be brutally and aggressively attacked by young female Bernie supporters. Just ask Lena Dunham when it comes to sexism in this election, which has been created by both men and women. The people who have wanted to see it least have been women. First of all, I didn't ask Lena Dunham a goddamn thing. Second, I love how the thoughts of male Bernie supporters don't even cross your mind. It's almost as if you're discriminating against us based on our gender. There is a word for that, but for the life of me I just can't think what it is.
It goes back to Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright's point. Young Democratic women who do not yet appreciate how much straight white males, consciously or subconsciously, resist change that pertains to the advancement of women, do not yet fully understand the difference in being a woman who has fought tooth and nail her entire life for the presidency versus being a straight white man running on a ticket that's pretty much cut and paste Obama's broad campaign promise of change.
Answer me this. What about a Hillary Clinton presidency would be an advancement for women? What would she do that Bernie would not? Did Obama simply being president do anything for the advancement of black people? No. The race and gender of a president do not determine anything. Their policy does. And Hillary's policies seem to lean right. Bernie's lean left. This is why many women on the left support him over Hillary. It seems to me that you need to learn the difference between voting based on something insignificant like gender and voting based on who best represents the policies and values that you hold.
They do not yet understand that the information that they're being given for Bernie and or against Hillary is coming from bros of all ages like Spencer Thayer, who mostly just wants page clicks to pay for his DJing equipment. Fetch. They don't yet know that the disrespect and hate they feel for Hillary is disrespect and hate that will soon be coming their way if real feminist change doesn't move through the United States post-haste.
What you don't yet understand is that third-wave feminism is a backwards ideology that degrades the name of a once great movement. First-wave feminism accomplished what it set out to do. And before you bitch about the wage gap, let me remind you that it is a myth that has been debunked many times over, including by women who are much smarter than me. Third-wave feminism is about whiny spoiled brats like yourself who want to blame someone other than themselves for their own shortcomings in life. As if taking down the male boogeyman is all that stands between them and success. And that silencing those who disagree with their beliefs dogma will somehow empower them.
And they definitely don't get that a straight white man fighting for the rights of women will never, ever mean as much as a woman earning the opportunity to fight for the rights of women, the opportunity to lead both men and women, and the opportunity to run the country.
Look, I would love to vote a woman into the White House. Unfortunately, Elizabeth Warren isn't running. Hillary Clinton is. The person is much more important than the gender. Before you disagree with that statement, ask yourself if you would be saying the same thing about Sarah Palin. I doubt it. If you want to vote for Hillary because she's a woman, go right ahead. It's a free country and that is your right. But don't pretend to speak on behalf of anyone but yourself. People have free will and they make decisions based on any number of factors. Just because you vote based on gender, that does not mean that everyone else does as well. We make up our own minds about what is important to us. For me, it is policy. Sure, some men are not voting for her because they are sexist, and some women are voting for Bernie because a guy they know or like is. That is something we are just going to have to accept, because you can't force people to change their minds. You can only make the best case you can, and hope some people can step out of their safe space long enough to listen. Chatzu, signing out. So, I wanted to get another ramble out while working on my next big video. But now I'm sick and losing my voice. Oh well, Speakonia to the rescue. I think I might just do all these like this from now on. They don't take too long to make, and I get some typing practice in. Anyway, what to ramble about today? Maybe the gorilla incident. Nope, not getting involved in that pointless noise. More politics. No, no one seems to care about that. How about video games? Sure, why not? Within the last few days, GOG has started something they call GOG Connect, where they let you link to your Steam account and download the GOG versions of games you have on there for free once they become available in the program. They don't have many games available right now, but the concept is, I believe, a step in the direction game companies need to head in. I wish Steam would do this as well. If you pay for a game, that should mean you own it and have the ability to play it on the platform of your choosing. While I think this should be true of games that are on both PC and consoles, I am open to the opposing argument for situations where the console and PC ports have differences. Unfortunately, GOG Connect seems to be a limited time offer, but I hope, if it's a success, it encourages long-term change in the industry. Even if it doesn't, it can hopefully start a productive dialogue about what it means to own a game, or any media, for that matter. While I am on this subject, I wish Nintendo would just give gamers what we want and allow cross-buy between the Wii U and the 3DS. There is no excuse for that crap at this point. I will most likely touch on some of these subjects more in the future, but I just wanted to get my 2 cents in the meantime. Chatzu signing out.